When I was 9 years old and my older brother was 14, we were at the location of what would have been the scariest night of my life. That day, our mother had given us about $30 to go to a movie and maybe get food afterwards. After watching the movie, it was getting pretty dark and I was ready to go home. But my brother wanted to get something to eat first, so we agreed to walk to a McDonald's only a couple blocks from the theater. On our way there, we were stopped and approached by a man. He had a friendly smile plastered on his face, and he was holding his child's hand. "Hey, do you two think you could give my son and I a hand real quick?" he asked. "We need help loading a mattress onto the back of our truck. The truck is over there, up the road." "Sorry, but we don't really have time," my brother said. It was at this time I noticed the little boy. He was about 8 years old, and he looked abnormally thin. He had a blank expression on his face and wore clothes that were much too big for him. I turned my attention back to the man, who was now mumbling to my brother about how it would only take a second. My brother kindly declined again. But being the helpful kid that I was, I joined in with the man and tried to persuade my brother that we should help them out. I turned to him, who was now staring at the little boy. My brother had a disturbed expression on his face as he looked down on the child. The child stared back at my brother blankly. "I think that's my mom over there." He pulled me, and we began walking away from the stranger. Again, I didn't understand what was going on, and why my brother had just lied about our mom being there. He didn't let go of his hand and practically dragged me until we were a far distance away from the man and his son. I looked back and could still see the man holding his son's hand, only now, he wasn't smiling anymore. He had a look of fury on his face, and he yanked the little boy by the arm and they walked away. I pulled away from my brother's grasp and bombarded him with questions. He shushed me and pulled his cell phone out of his pocket. He dialed in the number and began pacing around nervously while talking on the phone. I remember the police showing up and my mom came soon after. She took me home, but my brother was left with the police. I asked my mother what was going on, and she said that the police were just questioning my brother because that man we had encountered was dangerous. That was all she told me, so I just went to bed. It wasn't until a few days ago that these memories flooded back into my mind. I decided to call my now 22-year-old brother to get some answers. My brother told me that while the man was constantly trying to convince us to come with him, he happened to look at the little boy, then looked at my brother with his eyes filled with terror and mouthed the words, "I'm not his son. Please help me." His expression went back to being completely blank, almost as if he had never said anything at all. This was why he became so freaked out and snatched me away. When he called the police, they hurried down and he described the man the best he could. Unfortunately, they couldn't do much with the little information my brother had given, because we hadn't even seen the car the man supposedly had. My brother told me that a few weeks into the investigation, they had found the little boy who was with the man. His body had been cruelly dumped in the woods, and the cause of death was malnutrition and dehydration. If my brother and I had gone with that man, we likely would have met the same fate. That meant he had other partners who would have helped him snatch up unsuspecting kids. His real parents had already been searching for their missing son for almost a month. The sick man used him as his puppet to try and take other children. So to the man I saw all those years ago, you had better hope that we never meet again.